Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Courtney and I am a full-time reseller on Poshmark and eBay. And today I'm here just sharing something that happened recently, which is I purchased a fake Dooney and Bourke, kind of a vintage style. And I wanted to come on here and share what I learned. This is not an authentication video. I just wanted to share what indications were that led me to realize it was fake, and just kind of my experience with authenticating and fake bags in general. So before I move into that, if you are new to the channel, maybe you're searching for a Dooney and Bourke bag yourself, or you're just curious as to kind of how I discovered that this was fake. I am a reseller. I purchase things at local thrift stores, and I spend a lot of time digging in junk to find hidden gems, and then I resell them online. This is unfortunately an aspect that a lot of resellers will find, is that they'll accidentally purchase something, or they'll find something in a store and not know if something is real, and just what is that process. And so I do share my reselling journey here. And so yeah, if you aren't already subscribed and maybe you're interested in reselling in general, definitely consider hitting the subscribe button down below. And if you like these videos where I kind of share my misses to hopefully help others, definitely hit the thumbs up. It means a lot to me. So first up, I purchased this at a Southern California thrift store, and I by no means intended to buy a fake. However, when I saw it, I knew, oh, it's kind of vintage Dooney. People are really into that kind of right now, and it goes in waves. But I didn't even look at it. I just thought it's cute. It seems to be zipper worked. I think it's the only thing I checked. It's got both straps. It had some wear, but yeah, it had the little Dooney right here. It's got the little Dooney here. And this is not the first Dooney I purchased, but it's the first vintage Dooney I thought I purchased. But anyway, so I threw it in the cart, paid full price, and was really excited about my find. However, when I went to go take pictures of it last night, I noticed in every other Dooney that I have found, which I don't have one here. Let me go grab one. All right, I happened to find another Dooney recently, and so I thought I would look for in every other Dooney that I have found, there is a classic, which this apparently, according to the research I did last night, can also be faked, but there's this kind of classic Dooney and Bourke tag, and it's usually, if you just flip it over, it's got a serial number. Now, this one is a little dingy. I've got to clean it up, but I didn't see that in here. And so I thought, well, it's vintage, so maybe that was before they did it. I found a Coach bag that was real, that was vintage enough where it was before the Creed. And I was suspicious by that, but again, some makers change things in the course of their time. So it's not lined, but it did have this tag right here, which says made in Korea. And I thought that's strange, because Dooney and Bourke, I believe, is made in the USA, and I would assume that the vintage ones are definitely made in the USA, but who knows? I'll look it up, because that's the first step for me of when I come across something that I suspect doesn't seem right. So I looked online, and sure enough, I found a few different websites that said Dooney and Bourke never made handbags and made in Korea, and that was a clear indication that something was fake. I also compared this little duck guy, kind of the classic seal, to some other ones, and it does look as if it's slightly off. So that's the story with this. And I just thought I'd use it as an opportunity to kind of share my experience with authentication and whatnot. So first up, that's not the first fake I've encountered. I've gotten some fakes in some ThredUp rescue boxes. I have those videos. Those are kind of my early videos that aren't that great, but those were accidentally sent to me, and I did return those to ThredUp so I could get a credit for the money, the value that I spent on them. I also accidentally bought a Longchamp bag that was fake at the Goodwill bins, and I thought it was real. I compared it to my own Longchamp, and I did a lot of research, and there was something that just kind of struck me as off, but I think it was someone in a video that said that's definitely fake, and so then that made me worry about it more so than anything. And so I just kept looking at things and I was like, I'm comparing it to mine, and it was just such a good fake. But it actually, there's one zipper pull that it was spelled L-O-N-C, like lonk instead of long. And the C and the G are very close. And it was really hard to miss, but that was, sure enough, with a magnifying glass, what it said was a C instead of G. And that I still have here. I don't know what to do with it. I don't know what to do with this Dooney. And then I also discovered a Chloe bag at the bins that I didn't end up purchasing, but when I was at the bins, I was trying to look online. Could this be real? Could this be real? And because I don't want to buy something if it's fake. And sure enough, when I was looking, there weren't many indications, and I can't remember which bag it was, but there was a slight pull. And so I pulled up a little bit and there was sticky stuff, and it was just clearly an indication that it was fake. So each bag is unique. There are super fakes. There are just really good fakes out there. And the thing with this is I would never suspect that people would go to the effort of faking this. I think of Prada, I think of Gucci, I think of Louis Vuitton. Those are fakes, and I see them all over when I travel the world in markets. And that's just, I don't know, that's what I think of. That's what people are putting the effort. I just can't imagine why someone would fake this. And I think that's been the most surprising thing as a reseller to me so far, is there are far more things faked than I would ever assume. So this kind of leads into a couple things that I just thought I'd bring up here. It is illegal to fake counterfeit goods. And I'm not a lawyer, I'm not going to give legal advice, but clearly it is illegal to sell counterfeit goods. I don't purchase them intentionally. This was an accident. I don't support a counterfeit market, but I also know that when I'm out and about, they're hard to catch. And even when they seem definitely obvious, places like Goodwill, Salvation Armies, just local thrift stores, even things like ThredUp, maybe not ThredUp. They shouldn't be sending them in rescue boxes, but I think those people are probably kind of the lower on the chain. They're not ever getting to an authentication person, but people make mistakes and people don't catch things. And so I don't think those stores are intentionally selling fake goods. Now, if I ever catch one at my local thrift store, I'll bring it to the manager's attention and say, hey, this is an obvious fake, and then let them determine what they want to do with it. And I would say it in the nicest way possible. I have come across one local thrift store that was a for-profit thrift store, and they actually have a whole section that is faux bags. And so it was spelled that way, and they knew what they were selling. They had real behind the counter, and then they had a faux section. So I'm not sure how they get away with that. Maybe they've just never been called out on it. So I'm not saying that it's not happening, but I do think that a lot of the nonprofits or not-for-profits are not intentionally doing it. One question I get all the time is, when do I decide to authenticate an item? So I do use a service called Authenticate First. A little code down below will get you your first one for $17, I believe, instead of $20. I use them. It was recommended to me by someone who has used multiple services, and they don't have the easiest system online or some fancy app like a couple of the others, but they have a very small team, and they're very serious about counterfeit goods and authenticating clearly. They're not training people in a day to authenticate items. So it's the only service I use that I trust. They're also in San Diego, so they are in Southern California. If I ever need to go and see them about a purchase, they're technically within driving distance, which is helpful for just knowing that they're there. But I usually use their email service, and it costs $20. So I'm not going to authenticate every single item that has a brand, because then I would be making no profit. Most items I'm selling for $20 to $30. So when do I decide? So there's 3 times when it's a high resale value. So if it's over $100 that I'm going to be asking for resold, I might consider getting it authenticated, just because I know someone's going to be spending a pretty penny. An example of this is I found a Burberry scarf, and those are faked all the time. And so I was not confident that I would be able to authenticate it myself, and that's not what I do. And I definitely didn't want to sell something that I have seen faked so much. So I got it authenticated. It was a great experience. And I sent the certificate to the buyer. And in my description on the listing, I said, I have this authenticated by Authenticate First. I will be providing the Certificate of Authentication with your purchase. you can call this company and confirm the certificate is in fact authentic itself. So that's what I do. I also, when I have looked online, so in this situation, if I found some things that said made in Korea was okay, but other places that said no, it wasn't okay, and I'm sitting there going, I don't know what to do with it. Like, Google, I mean, there's a lot of misinformation online. I don't know who to believe. I want it to be real, but I might then take that step. If I'm getting misinformation or conflicting information online, again, if the value is there, I might want to get that authenticated. Or in some situations, I've had people in videos a couple times, or even a potential buyer, asking about the authenticity of something. If that happens, I might want to, depending on the value of it, if it's worth it, then get it authenticated so that there's no confusion or concern involved. So that's how I determine. I don't ever want to make the mistake, and I do think people accidentally make the mistake with no ill intention. So what do I do with fake bags? First up, leave me a comment below and let me know if you've ever found a fake bag and you know what you've done with it, because I think that's the thing I'm not clear on of what to do. Is I've seen people say they redonate them, but to me that's concerning, because if you redonate it to a thrift store, the employees might accidentally put it out, which is more than likely the case. And some reseller or even individual wanting that bag might purchase it thinking it's real, and then they're carrying around a fake bag. Slightly different if you're paying $6 or $7 for a bag at a thrift store than hundreds online, but still it's not good. So I wouldn't want to redonate it. I have heard people talk about burn parties. They actually burn handbags, so they're completely out of the system. And that's how passionate some people are about counterfeit goods. I have also heard of people who just keep them or give them to a family member. Again, that's a little concerning, because what if something happens to me, or what if it accidentally gets donated? Right now, I currently have 2 fake bags in my possession. I would like to get rid of them so they're out of the system, but I also don't want to burn anything because I'm in Southern California and no wildfires are needed where I'm at. So what's the other option? Throwing out so it ends up in the landfill? I don't know. That's the only thing I really haven't figured out. But definitely leave me a comment below if you figured out either a service that will destroy counterfeit goods, or somewhere locally if you have something like that in your area. And let me know if you've ever accidentally purchased something fake. But I just wanted to share this. It happens to the best of us. And so anyways, give this video a thumbs up if you like when I share these things, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks, guys.